Beloved, tonight I want you to understand something that many people quote, but very few truly comprehend. Psalm 91 is not a poem for decoration. It is not religious literature for comfort only, and it is not a superstition to be recited in fear. Psalm 91 is a declaration of position, a revelation of authority, and a manifestation of covenant reality. When you pray this psalm, you are not begging God to do something He is reluctant to do. You are aligning yourself with what He has already established. Protection is not an emergency response from heaven. Protection is a benefit of relationship. And relationship is the foundation of authority. The psalm begins with dwelling, not visiting, not passing through, dwelling. To dwell means to make a habitation, to settle, to remain, to be at home. You cannot experience the benefits of a place you only visit occasionally. Many people want the protection of the Most High, but refuse the discipline of dwelling in His presence. Dwelling speaks of consistency, intimacy, and alignment. When you dwell in the secret place of the Most High, you are not hiding from life, you are positioning yourself above it. The secret place is not a location, it is a condition of the heart. It is a posture of dependence, a consciousness of God, a daily awareness that you are not your own source. The Most High is not a title of weakness, it is a declaration of supremacy. When you dwell in Him, you are dwelling in the highest authority there is. Authority always provides security. In every nation, the safest place is near the seat of power. When you live under the authority of the Most High, you are automatically above lesser authorities. That is why the Psalm says, "You shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty." A shadow only exists when something greater is present. The shadow of the Almighty means His power covers you, His presence surrounds you, and His authority overshadows every threat that comes against your life. Protection is not based on what you feel, it is based on what you know. That is why the psalmist declares, "I will say of the Lord," this is not silent faith, this is vocal agreement. Words are containers of authority. What you say determines what you experience. You cannot think your way into protection, you must speak your way into it. When you declare the Lord as your refuge and your fortress, you are making a legal proclamation in the spirit realm. You are announcing where your trust resides. Trust is not passive belief. Trust is active reliance. Where you place your trust determines who is responsible for your outcome. God does not protect everyone automatically. He protects those who trust Him. Trust transfers responsibility. When you trust God, you release the burden of self-preservation. Many people are exhausted because they are trying to protect themselves with human wisdom, human strength, and human strategies. But when you trust God, you enter rest. And rest is not inactivity, rest is confidence in divine governance. To say, "My God, in Him I will trust," is to declare that you are no longer the manager of your own safety. You are surrendering control to the one who sees what you cannot see and knows what you do not know. The psalm declares deliverance from the snare of the fowler and from the deadly pestilence. Notice, it does not say the snare will not exist. It does not say disease will not be present in the world. It says you will be delivered from it. Protection does not mean the absence of danger. It means immunity in the presence of danger. You must understand this principle clearly. God does not remove His people from the earth. He preserves them in the earth. You are not exempt from living in a fallen world, but you are exempt from being destroyed by it. A snare is a hidden trap. It is something you do not see coming. This means God's protection covers both visible and invisible threats. There are dangers you prayed about, and there are dangers you never knew existed. There are accidents that never happened, attacks that never manifested, and traps that never closed because divine protection intervened without your awareness. Many times, the greatest evidence of God's protection is what did not happen to you. The psalm speaks of feathers and wings, not because God is a bird, but because these are symbols of covering and nurture. Protection is not only defensive, it is relational. Under his wings speaks of closeness. You cannot experience the warmth of his wings at a distance. God's protection is not mechanical, it is personal. His truth is your shield and buckler. Truth is not merely information, truth is reality as God defines it. When you live according to divine truth, you are automatically shielded from many forms of destruction. Lies expose you. Truth protects you. Fear is the enemy of protection. That is why the Psalm says, "You shall not be afraid." Fear does not create danger, but it invites it. Fear aligns you with the expectation of harm. Faith aligns you with the expectation of safety. Night terrors and daytime arrows represent threats in every season. This tells us that God's protection is not seasonal. It is not limited to certain times of the day or certain phases of your life. Whether the danger comes suddenly or gradually, publicly or privately, God's covering remains intact. 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not come near you. This is not arrogance, this is covenant confidence. This is not denial of reality, this is declaration of identity. You must understand that proximity to disaster does not mean participation in disaster. Being near something does not give it permission to touch you. Covenant establishes boundaries. There are lines that calamity cannot cross without violating divine law. When you are under divine protection, disaster may be around you, but it is not authorized to enter you. With your eyes you shall look and see the reward of the wicked. This is not pleasure in destruction, it is awareness of distinction. God makes a clear difference between those who dwell in him and those who reject his ways. Protection is one of the evidences of divine order. When you make the Lord your habitation, not just your emergency contact, no evil shall befall you. Again, this does not mean challenges do not come. It means they do not succeed. Angels are mentioned not as poetic imagery, but as operational agents. Angels are assigned, not random. They are commanded, not independent. They are given charge over you. This means your life is under supervision. You are not navigating existence alone. Heaven has invested resources into your preservation. Angels operate according to divine command, and they respond to God's word. When you align your speech with God's promises, you activate angelic assistance. This is not mystical fantasy, it is kingdom administration. To bear you up in their hands means you are carried when you are unaware. There are moments when your strength is insufficient, when your wisdom fails, and when your awareness is limited. In those moments, divine assistance compensates for human limitation. The stone you would have stumbled over is removed, or you are lifted over it. Many of your victories are the result of help you never saw. You will tread upon the lion and the cobra. These represent strength and subtlety, power and deception. God's protection does not only defend you, it empowers you to overcome. You do not merely survive threats, you dominate them. Authority is not the absence of opposition. Authority is mastery over opposition. When you walk in divine authority, even dangerous forces are placed under your feet. Now the voice shifts, and God himself speaks. This is important. God responds to those who love him. Love is not emotion, love is alignment. Love means to value, to honor, to prioritize. When you love God, your life is ordered according to his will. God says he will deliver, set on high, answer, be with, rescue, honor, satisfy, and show salvation. These are not random blessings, they are responses to relationship. Calling upon God is not a last resort, it is a lifestyle. God answers those who call because calling acknowledges dependency. In trouble, he is not distant, he is present. Presence is more powerful than escape. Sometimes God does not remove the trouble immediately because his presence in the trouble transforms you. Honor follows endurance. Deliverance leads to elevation. Satisfaction comes with longevity. Long life is not merely measured in years, but in fulfillment of purpose. Protection is connected to purpose. God protects what He intends to use. Preservation is evidence of assignment. The reason you are still alive is not luck, it is intention. Heaven does not invest protection in meaningless existence. If God is guarding you, it is because your life carries value to His agenda. You are. It's not preserved to merely survive. You are preserved to contribute. Tonight, when you pray this psalm, do not pray it as poetry. Pray it as policy. Do not whisper it in fear. Declare it in confidence. You are not trying to convince God. You are reminding yourself. You are aligning your mind with divine reality. Prayer does not change God. Prayer changes your posture. When your posture changes, your experience follows. Stop seeing protection as something fragile. God's protection is not thin or weak. It is not easily broken. It is not dependent on circumstances. It is rooted in covenant. Covenant is stronger than chaos. Covenant outlives crisis. Covenant stands when systems fail. When you are in covenant with God, your life is governed by a higher order. Understand this clearly. Protection does not replace wisdom. Faith is not foolishness. Dwelling in God does not mean ignoring instruction. Divine protection works best when partnered with obedience. Obedience keeps you aligned with divine order. Many dangers are avoided not by miracles but by wisdom. God often protects you by guiding your decisions before danger appears. Tonight, let this psalm recalibrate your thinking. You are not vulnerable, you are covered. You are not exposed, you are shielded. You are not alone, you are surrounded. Your life is not at the mercy of chance, it is under the authority of God. When you sleep, He watches. When you walk, He guides. When you face danger, He intervenes. This prayer is not limited to tonight, but tonight is a moment of agreement. Speak it over your home. Speak it over your family. Speak it over your future. Words spoken in faith establish atmospheres. Atmospheres influence outcomes. When your environment is saturated with divine truth, fear cannot dominate. You must stop rehearsing worst-case scenarios and start rehearsing divine promises. What you meditate on becomes what you expect. What you expect shapes how you live. Psalm 91 is not meant to be read in panic, it is meant to be lived in peace. Peace is not the absence of trouble. Peace is confidence in protection. You are not designed to live in fear. Fear diminishes creativity, weakens faith, and distorts perception. God's protection restores clarity. When you know you are protected, you can focus on purpose. When survival is no longer your obsession, contribution becomes your priority. Tonight, align your heart, your mind, and your words with this truth. You dwell in the secret place. You abide under the shadow. You declare the Lord as refuge. You trust Him. You are delivered. You are covered. You are fearless. You are preserved. You are assisted. You are victorious. This is not hope. This is inheritance. When you truly understand inheritance, you stop negotiating for what already belongs to you. Protection is not a reward for perfect behavior. It is a provision of covenant. Covenant means God binds Himself to His word, not to your mood, not to your feelings, not to your fluctuating confidence. Many people lose peace because they think protection depends on how strongly they feel faith at a given moment. Faith is not an emotion. It is alignment with truth. Even when you feel weak, covenant remains strong. Even when you feel uncertain, God's word remains certain. You must learn to separate circumstances from identity. Circumstances change daily. Identity is fixed in God. When danger approaches, circumstances shout loudly, but identity speaks with authority. Psalm 91 reminds you who you are before it tells you what you receive. You are one who dwells. You are one who abides. You are one who trusts. Everything else flows from that position. If you skip position and only claim benefits, you will live in anxiety. But when you secure position, benefits follow naturally. Protect. Tian operates according to spiritual law, not religious enthusiasm. Law works consistently. Gravity does not care whether you believe in it. It responds to alignment. In the same way, divine protection responds to alignment with God's order. When you live under His authority works on your behalf. Authority always protects what it governs. The problem is not that God fails to protect. The problem is that many people live outside the jurisdiction of divine order while still expecting divine outcomes. Jurisdiction matters. A police officer has authority only within a defined area. Step outside that jurisdiction, and that authority no longer applies. When you step outside God's will knowingly, you expose yourself unnecessarily. This is why obedience is not control, obedience is protection. God's instructions are not restrictions, they are safeguards. He is not trying to limit your life, He is trying to preserve it. Psalm 91 trains your consciousness to live from heaven's perspective rather than earth's panic. Earth says, what if? Heaven says, I am. Earth says, be afraid. Heaven says, be still. Earth says, you are surrounded. Heaven says, you are covered. The question is not which voice is speaking, but which voice you agree with. Agreement gives permission. What you agree with gains influence over your emotions, your decisions, and ultimately your experiences. Night represents uncertainty. Darkness hides information. Fear thrives in the absence of clarity. That is why people imagine worst-case scenarios at night. But the Psalm says, you shall not fear the terror by night. Why? Because God sees clearly when you cannot. Darkness does not limit God's vision. When you sleep, He remains alert. When your mind shuts down, His awareness remains active. Trust means resting while God works. Daytime arrows represent visible threats, problems you can identify, name, and anticipate. Night terrors represent invisible threats, things you cannot explain or foresee. God covers both. He protects you from what you know and from what you do not know. This should free you from obsession. You are not required to anticipate every danger to be safe. God already anticipated it. Pestilence speaks of systems beyond personal control, disease, economic collapse, social unrest, environmental crisis. These are forces larger than individual strength. The Psalm does not deny their existence. It declares your exemption from their destructive power. Exemption is not denial, it is distinction. In Egypt, the plagues fell, but not everywhere. There was a line drawn. That line was covenant. Covenant still draws lines today. When you understand covenant, you stop panicking over global headlines. Information is important, but fear is optional. You can be informed without being enslaved. You can be aware without being anxious. Anxiety is the result of believing you are responsible for outcomes you were never designed to control. Trust transfers outcome management to God. 1,000 falling at your side does not mean you are heartless to suffering. Compassion and confidence are not opposites. You can grieve and still trust. You can help others without fearing their fate will become yours. Divine protection allows you to engage the world without being consumed by it. Without protection, isolation feels safer. With protection, engagement becomes possible. Seeing the reward of the wicked does not mean celebrating judgment. It means learning wisdom. It teaches you that rebellion carries consequences and alignment carries covering. God is just, not arbitrary. His ways are predictable when understood. He does not protect randomly, He protects relationally. Making the Lord your habitation means He is not just where you go on Sunday, He is where you live daily. Many people visit God in prayer but live elsewhere in decision-making. Habitation means your values, priorities, and choices reflect His presence. When God is your dwelling place, danger becomes a visitor that is not permitted to stay. No evil shall befall you does not mean no challenge will knock on your door. It means it will not be granted residency. Problems may approach, but they cannot remain. They may test, but they cannot define. They may shake, but they cannot destroy. Your household is included. This is important. God's protection is generational. It extends beyond individual spirituality. When a leader of a home aligns with God, the covering extends to those connected. This does not remove personal responsibility, but it creates spiritual atmosphere. Atmosphere influences behavior. When a home is saturated with faith, fear loses dominance. Angels are commanded concerning you, not impressed by you. They respond to God's authority, not human effort. They operate within divine assignment. This means protection is not emotional, it is administrative. Heaven has systems. Heaven has order. Your life is not an afterthought in those systems. Lifting you up means PR, preventing unnecessary injury. Not every fall is fatal, but not every fall is necessary. God minimizes damage even when lessons are required. He preserves you from harm that would derail purpose. Purpose preservation is central to divine protection. God is invested in outcomes beyond your comfort. He protects what contributes to destiny. Lions and serpents represent different types of opposition. Some opposition is loud and aggressive. Some is quiet and deceptive. Some threatens openly. Some attacks subtly. God gives you authority over both. Discernment and courage are both necessary. Courage without discernment leads to recklessness. Discernment without courage leads to paralysis. Divine protection balances both. When God says, "Because he has set his love upon me," he is identifying a principle. Setting love is intentional. Love is not accidental. You choose what you value. You choose what you pursue. When God becomes your priority, your life aligns with his protection. Many people love God emotionally, but do not set him as priority. Priority determines placement. Placement determines coverage. Being set on high speaks of elevation beyond reach. Some dangers cannot be stopped. They must be outranged. Elevation changes perspective and vulnerability. Eagles do not fight snakes on the ground. They lift them into the air where the snake loses power. God often protects you by elevating you above environments that would destroy you. Knowing God's name is not about pronunciation. It is about relationship. Name represents character, authority, and access. When you know God personally, prayer is not formal. It is familial. Calling on him is natural, not forced. God responds quickly to relational access. Answering prayer does not always mean immediate removal of trouble. Sometimes the answer is strength, wisdom, endurance, or favor within the situation. God's presence in tea. Rubel redefines the experience. You are not alone in pain. You are not abandoned in difficulty. His presence transforms pressure into process. Deliverance and honor are connected. Endurance produces credibility. God honors those who trust him under pressure. Honor is not applause, it is elevation of influence. Those who survive with integrity are entrusted with greater responsibility. Long life is not accidental longevity, it is sustained relevance. Many people live long but do not live full. God promises satisfaction, not mere survival. Satisfaction comes from fulfilled purpose, not accumulated years. Protection ensures you are not removed prematurely from assignment. Salvation is not only rescue from death, it is rescue from meaninglessness. God shows you his salvation by revealing his involvement in your story. When you see how he preserved you, guided you, and sustained you, your confidence deepens. Praying Psalm 91 tonight is not ritual, it is reinforcement. You are reinforcing truth against fear. You are strengthening awareness of divine coverage. You are reminding your soul where safety resides. Souls forget. Faith must be refreshed. Do not pray this psalm hurriedly. Let it reshape how you see life. Let it reprogram your reactions. When fear tries to rise, answer it with truth. When anxiety whispers, respond with declaration. Silence empowers fear. Speech empowers faith. Stop asking, what if something happens? And start declaring, even if something tries, it will not prevail. This is not denial, it is dominance. You are not pretending danger does not exist. You are declaring danger does not have authority. God's protection is proactive, not reactive. He does not wait for disaster to respond. He positions you ahead of it. Sometimes protection looks like delay. Sometimes it looks like redirection. Sometimes it looks like unanswered prayer. You asked to go, but God blocked the path. That blockage was mercy. Learn to thank God not only for what He did, but for what He prevented. Gratitude sharpens awareness. Awareness builds trust. Trust deepens peace. Peace is the greatest evidence of protection. A protected mind is as important as a protected body. Many people are physically safe, but mentally tormented. Psalm 91 restores mental security. When your mind rests, your body follows. Tonight, let your sleep be an act of faith. Sleep declares trust. You cannot sleep deeply. If you believe, you must remain alert to survive. Rest says God is watching. Insomnia often reveals misplaced responsibility. Release what was never yours to carry. Speak this psalm over your dreams. Nightmares are not random, they are often fear rehearsals. Replace them with truth. Your subconscious responds to what you feed it. Feed it promise, not panic. Protection is not fragile. It does not expire overnight. It does not weaken when you feel tired. It does not depend on perfect performance. It rests on God's faithfulness. God does not protect you because you are flawless. He protects you because He is faithful. Faithfulness is who He is, not what you earn. Let this understanding settle deeply. You are not exposed. You are not forgotten. You are not unguarded. You are not an accident waiting to happen. You are a purpose being preserved. As you continue to live, move, decide, and dream, do so with the awareness that heaven has taken responsibility for your preservati. This awareness will change how boldly you live, how freely you love, and how confidently you pursue purpose. Protection is not meant to make you passive. It is meant to make you fearless. When fear leaves, obedience becomes easier. When obedience increases, impact multiplies. Tonight is not about words spoken once. It is about a mindset established. Carry this consciousness into tomorrow. Walk knowing you are covered. Speak knowing your words align with authority. Rest knowing your life is hidden in God. And as this truth settles into your spirit, fear loses its grip, anxiety loses its voice, and peace takes its rightful place as the guardian of your heart and mind. Protection is not only something you receive for yourself, it is something that flows through you to others. When God covers a life, that life becomes a point of safety for many. This is why understanding Psalm 91 is not meant to stop with personal comfort. It is meant to awaken responsibility. You are not only preserved for yourself, you are preserved so that others can encounter peace through you. A protected life becomes a testimony without words. Many people misunderstand safety and think it means isolation. They withdraw, close themselves off, and build emotional walls. But divine protection does not make you distant. It makes you secure enough to stay open. When you know God is guarding your life, you can love without fear, give without anxiety, and stand without suspicion. Fear always limits love. Security expands it. Psalm 91 restores your ability to live fully, not cautiously. You must understand that peace is contagious. Fear spreads quickly, but peace spreads deeply. When you walk into a room with calm confidence, you shift the atmosphere. When your family sees you steady during uncertainty, it speaks louder than sermons. When your children notice that you rest, instead of panic, they yell. Earn trust without being taught vocabulary. Your faith becomes visible not in what you say, but in how you respond. Protection shapes reactions. A person who knows they are covered does not rush to conclusions. They do not assume the worst. They do not magnify problems. They see challenges through the lens of divine oversight. This is not denial, it is discipline. It is training your soul to respond according to truth rather than impulse. Psalm 91 also teaches restraint. It teaches you not to overreact to threats that are not authorized. Not every noise is danger. Not every delay is disaster. Not every struggle is defeat. When you understand protection, you stop exhausting yourself by fighting battles that are not yours to fight. Discernment saves energy. Trust preserves strength. God's protection works quietly most of the time. It does not announce itself. It does not seek attention. It simply intervenes, redirects, delays, or shields. Many of the most powerful acts of God in your life happened without your awareness. You only see them clearly in hindsight. That realization should produce humility, not pride. It reminds you that you are dependent, not self-sufficient. Dependency is not weakness in the kingdom, it is wisdom. Children are safest when they trust their parents. Independence without maturity leads to danger. Psalm 91 restores childlike trust, not childish thinking, but childlike confidence. Confidence that someone greater is watching, guiding, and guarding. When you live with this understanding, gratitude becomes natural. You begin to thank God for ordinary days, uneventful journeys, quiet nights, and simple returns home. These are not insignificant moments. They are evidence of ongoing protection. Many people only thank God after dramatic rescue, but mature faith thanks Him for daily preservation. Protection also teaches patience. Sometimes God's company, veering, looks like waiting. You wanted speed, but God chose timing. You wanted answers, but God chose silence. Silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean neglect. Often delay is protection in disguise. If you had arrived earlier, you would have arrived into harm. If you had received what you wanted sooner, you would not have been ready to sustain it. Psalm 91 matures your perspective. It trains you to see God not only as rescuer, but as governor. He governs outcomes. He governs access. He governs exposure. Nothing reaches you without passing through His permission. This does not mean everything that happens is good, but it means nothing is wasted. Even what was meant to harm you is filtered for purpose. A protected life is not a life without scars, it is a life without destruction. Scars tell stories of survival. They speak of battles you walked through and did not lose your identity. They become proof that God's covering does not make you fragile, it makes you resilient. As you reflect on this prayer, allow it to shift how you speak to yourself. Stop labeling yourself as unlucky, vulnerable, or exposed. Words shape identity. Identity shapes behavior. Behavior shapes outcomes. Call yourself what God calls you: covered, kept, preserved, watched over. When anxiety tries to return, remind your soul of where you dwell. When fear knocks, answer with declaration. When doubt whispers, respond with truth. You are not trying to convince fear to leave, you are reminding it that it has no authority. Protection also invites responsibility in relationships. When you know you are safe, you stop competing, comparing, and controlling. Control is often fear disguised as leadership. Trust produces freedom. Freedom strengthens relationships. Psalm 91 restores healthy connection by removing the fear that drives unhealthy attachment. Your family does not need a perfect verb. Sion of you, they need a peaceful one. Your friends do not need constant advice, they need consistent presence. Protection gives you emotional stability. Stability becomes a gift to everyone around you. Never underestimate the power of sharing truth. When you pass this prayer to someone else, you are not just sharing words, you are extending reassurance. You never know who is silently afraid, who is struggling with uncertainty, who is lying awake at night overwhelmed by what if. Sometimes one reminder of divine protection is enough to restore rest. Do not keep what strengthens you to yourself. Peace multiplies when shared. Faith grows when spoken. Love deepens when expressed. If this message has steadied your heart, allow it to steady someone else's heart too. Not with pressure, not with obligation, but with sincerity. Listening again matters. Truth sinks deeper with repetition. The first time you hear something, it informs you. The second time, it reminds you. Over time, it transforms you. Let this message live in your memory. Let it echo when fear tries to speak louder. And as you share this prayer, share your love as well. Words without love can feel heavy, but words wrapped in care feel safe. Let people know you thought of them. Let them know they matter. Let them know they are not alone. Love is one of the greatest forms of protection you can offer. In a world filled with uncertainty, your calm becomes a refuge. In times of confusion, your clarity becomes guidance. In moments of fear, your faith becomes light. This is how protection moves beyond you and touches others. Carry this understanding forward. Walk gently but confidently. Speak softly but firmly. Love deeply without fear. You are not walking through life exposed. You are moving through it covered, guided, and preserved. Let this prayer remain alive in you. Listen to it again when needed. Share it with those you care about. And above all, let the love you have received flow freely to others, because a life that knows it is protected becomes a life that protects, comforts, and strengthens those around it.